The rain was falling hard. The sound of water hitting the roof was loud, almost scary. Inside a small wooden house, Mark, a tired single father, was trying to fix a leak with his own hands. His little son, Noah, was asleep in the next room. Mark's face showed struggle, but also love. He worked hard because his son was everything to him. Just then, knock knock, someone was at the door. Mark froze. Who would come in such heavy rain so late at night? Slowly he opened the door. There stood a young girl soaked from head to toe, shivering as if she had been out for hours. Her hair was wet, her eyes filled with fear. She whispered almost too softly to hear, "Can I stay here? Just for tonight?" Mark hesitated. He didn't know her. Why was she alone in the middle of the night? Something about her felt mysterious. But leaving her outside in the storm felt cruel. Finally, he opened the door wider. Without knowing it, Mark had just made a choice that would change his life forever. "Who is this mysterious girl?" The girl stepped inside, her clothes dripping water on the floor. Mark quickly gave her a towel and pointed toward the fire. She wrapped herself tightly, but her hands still shook. "My name is Kelly," she said softly. Her voice was gentle, almost broken. Mark noticed she carried only a small bag, nothing else. No umbrella, no jacket. It was strange. Mark tried to ask her questions. "Where are you from? Do you have family here?" But Kelly avoided his eyes. She just nodded or gave short answers. Something about her silence made the room feel heavier. Then little Noah woke up and rubbed his sleepy eyes. When he saw Kelly, he smiled. "Hi, will you read me a story?" he asked. For the first time, Kelly's face softened. She gave a small smile, but when she reached for the book, Mark noticed a scar on her wrist. He didn't ask about it, but his heart filled with questions. Who was she really? What had she been through? What is Kelly hiding? The next morning, Kelly was still there. Mark thought maybe she would leave after the storm, but she stayed quiet, almost hidden in her own thoughts. As the day went on, Mark began to notice little things. Late at night, when the house was silent, he saw light coming from the small room. Kelly was writing in a notebook, page after page, as if keeping secrets only the paper could hold. She never answered phone calls. Once, when her phone buzzed, she quickly turned it off, her hands shaking. It was clear she was avoiding someone. Around her neck, she wore a small locket. Noah, curious as children are, reached for it once. Kelly quickly pulled it back and said firmly, "Don't touch this." The look in her eyes showed that the locket was more than just jewelry. Noah didn't mind. He was already laughing and playing with her, the way he hadn't laughed in months. But Mark couldn't relax. Every clue whispered that Kelly was hiding a truth too big to ignore. What secret lies inside that locket? Days slowly passed, and Kelly began to feel like part of the little family. She helped Mark with cooking and cleaning, and even made Noah's favorite pancakes. Noah loved having her around. For the first time since his mother's death, the house was filled with laughter again. Mark watched this change quietly. A part of him was thankful, but another part kept warning him, "Don't trust too fast." Something about Kelly's eyes still carried a heavy weight. One evening, the sound of a car stopping outside broke the calm. The headlights flashed across the window and Kelly froze. Her face turned pale, her hands shaking. She grabbed Mark's arm and whispered, "If they ask for me, please say I'm not here." Mark's heart pounded. Who were they? Why was she running? The knock on the door grew louder. Noah, unaware of the tension, looked up curiously. But Mark saw the terror in Kelly's eyes. This wasn't just about a rainy night anymore. Something much bigger had followed her to his home. Who is looking for Kelly, and why is she so afraid? Mark opened the door carefully. Two tall men stood outside, rain dripping from their coats. Their sharp eyes scanned the house. One of them pulled out a photo and held it up. "We're looking for this girl," he said. Mark's chest tightened. The photo was of Kelly. For a second, his mind raced. Should he tell the truth or protect her? He glanced back. Kelly was hiding behind the wall, trembling. "No," Mark finally said, steadying his voice. "I haven't seen her." The men looked at him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "If you do, let us know," one warned before walking away. When the door shut, Mark turned to Kelly. His eyes were full of questions and anger. "What's going on? Why are people looking for you?" Kelly's eyes filled with tears. Her voice cracked. "I'm the daughter of Richard Carter, one of the most powerful businessmen in the city. I ran away because I couldn't breathe in his world." But Mark's heart told him this wasn't the full story. Something still didn't add up. Is Kelly really just running from her father, or is there more? That night, when Noah had fallen asleep, Kelly sat at the table with her notebook open. Her hands shook as she pushed it toward Mark. "You deserve to know the truth," she whispered. Mark leaned closer. Page after page was filled with numbers, documents, and strange notes. He frowned. "What is all this?" Kelly's voice was low. "It's proof. Proof that my father, Richard Carter, has been cheating thousands of poor families through his company. Hidden accounts, fake records, money stolen from people who had nothing." Mark's chest tightened. He realized she wasn't only running away from a strict father. She was carrying dangerous secrets powerful people would do anything to hide. The next evening, trouble knocked again. This time, Richard Carter's men didn't just ask questions, they gave threats. One man leaned close to Mark, his voice cold. "If she's here, you and your boy will pay." Noah, standing in the corner, heard those words. His eyes filled with tears. He ran to his father, holding his shirt tightly. Mark's heart broke. He had promised to keep Noah safe, yet danger was now inside their very home. Kelly stood silently, her face pale. Later that night, she packed her small bag. "I can't stay," she said with tears. "I won't let my problems destroy your family." But as she reached for the door, Mark stopped her. His eyes were firm. "You're not alone anymore, Kelly. Running won't fix this. Together we'll find a way." Kelly stared at him, shocked. For the first time in years, someone wasn't pushing her away. Still, the danger was real. Richard Carter was powerful and his reach was long. Could two ordinary people really fight him? Can Mark and Kelly stand against such powerful enemies? Mark and Kelly worked through the night. Together, they sorted the papers, made copies, and prepared everything. Mark knew one wrong move could cost them their lives. Still, he believed the truth had to come out. The next morning, Mark met a trusted local reporter. With shaking hands, Kelly gave him the notebook full of evidence. "This is all I have," she whispered. Within hours, the news spread like fire. Reports on TV showed Richard Carter's company cheating the poor. Crowds filled the streets shouting for justice. Ordinary people finally had proof. Richard Carter was furious. He tried to silence the reporters, tried to find Kelly, but this time he failed. Too many eyes were watching. For the first time, Kelly felt the heavy chains on her heart break. Mark stood by her side, Noah holding her hand. She wasn't alone anymore. But as the noise of protest grew louder, a question burned inside Kelly. She had started a war against her own father. Could she ever live a normal life again? What choice will Kelly make about her future? Weeks later, the storm had finally passed. Richard Carter's empire was collapsing, and the police were investigating his crimes. The fear that once followed Kelly everywhere had slowly started to fade. Now she had a choice. She could return to the world of money and luxury, or stay in this small wooden home, where she had found something much greater, love and family. One evening, Noah gave her a small bracelet he had made with colorful threads. "Now you're family," he said with a wide smile. Kelly's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in years, she felt safe, loved, and free. Mark stood beside her, his hand resting gently on her shoulder. That rainy night had brought a stranger to his door, but today it had given him a daughter, a friend, and perhaps a new beginning. Love and family win over power.